start?
Good.
All to stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we do have enough members for a forum, and our chairman is not here today, so as in the past, even though I've been here about a year and a half, please help me struggle through this. So there are too many things. So we're gonna check out the approval of the minutes. If anyone has not had an opportunity to look them over, or if you have, look for a motion to approve minutes.
I'll make that one.
Second.
Nate? Thank you. Move on to our resolutions then. Our first resolution is the resolution authorizing budget modification for the aging unmet needs grant. So, I'll make an appropriate motion.
Make a motion. I'll second.
Any discussion, or Sarah, you want to tell us about it?
Certainly. I grabbed my wrong folder, so I don't have all my supporting documents today. I grabbed my budget mod for next month, sorry. The unmet needs funding was part of the government homework budget. We maintained a wait list of services, and based upon the wait list of services, the State Office for the Aging determined that we could receive $114,000 to help cover the unmet needs. Majority of our unmet needs has been the legal services as well as senior home care. So that funding would be going mostly into contracts for legal services, senior home care, transportation to try to get the senior home care participants, maybe to social adult day. A little bit of it does go to case management as well, though. And on the budget mod, there's a line for salaries and wages, but we're not asking for any additional money to put in there. The grant is going to help cover staff we already have in the office to reimburse for those salary and wages.
Very good, so it sounds like a good deal for us. We've got money coming in and going out. Any other discussion on that? Actually, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? HS2 resolution authorizing submission of the New York State Consolidated Funding application for Camp Hollis. And Ryan, actually, look for a proper motion.
Second.
Ryan, want to tell us about it?
Sure. So last year we wrote the CFA, and hopefully we scored a perfect score. And on the state, we finished somewhere in the middle, from what I was informed. And basically, another 5 to 7 points would have put us over where we needed to be. Got some feedback from Leanne, who wrote the grant with me last year, in a couple of areas that we could improve upon. Were just simple. John Booker did a lot of the budgeting, but the state wanted to know, well, who is John Booker? So it's a little bit more explanation of things simple like that. So we have a plan to go forward that I've been working with Leanne and Zach from Parks and Rec putting together the proposal. And this would be to, some of the work we had proposed last year has been done since then. I don't know if anybody's been to camp. We've been to camp next week. It's in really, really good shape. This would just, with winterize and mainly would extend the season. Our rentals are full. They're full between now and November 1st, pretty much. And this would be to extend the season so that programs could use it beyond that season. So the revenue would be increased within the county because we don't really need to hire additional staff because Zach, like Parks and Rec Director, would be there. So there's really not any overall cost to that. There's other costs here and there, but I think the revenue line can certainly offset that increase in usage. So we're looking to, again, submit.
We're going to need discussion. Any discussion? Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Brian. HS3, resolution authorizing the creation of 1 position and deletion of 2 positions in the Department of Social Services. Promotion.
I'll make.
So we've been down this path a little bit before. We've got some good graphics here, a few things to discuss potentially. If we need to, we'll talk about it. We're not going to do that. So Stacy, wanna give us at least a short synopsis?
Sure, as you may recall, in April, we put a proposal on the table to create a new position and eliminate one part-time position. Over the course of the last few months, we've taken an even deeper dive. We also, timing's everything. We also had a full-time account clerk who wanted to go into one of the part-time positions. So that took us back to the table to really, again, look at all of the different duties in our fiscal management at DSS. And now we are giving you a new proposal. So the last proposal in April was tabled at the FDP meeting of April 4th. And so we are taking that whole proposal right off the table and giving you this. You may recall that it was going to cost a little more than 7,000 gallons. This one actually has cost savings in our budget of about 274, I think it was. And so it saves in county savings $60.75 because of our 75% reimbursement.
It saves us how much?
$60.75.
So that right there is indicative of how accurate this is. So we appreciate that, how much work was done. How much work was done between April and now. Any discussion? Any discussion?
Seems to make sense.
Yeah, it's the,
I think this, the
third tax.
organizational chart probably, it's nice, clear, one-page visual.
All right, with no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good.
Thank you for your support on that. And of course, the next resolution, oops, do I need to wait?
Just first. So HS4 resolution authorizing the reclassification of one position in the Department of Social Services. Move for motion. Dave and Dan, thank you. So go ahead.
So this is part of the overall redesign, and we broke it out, so we have the reclassification of the one position, and then our other resolution, we have the creation of the new position and the deletion of 1.5 positions.
Okay. Any discussion on this? Everybody's very, very well prepared, or we're looking outside, seeing something other.
So this is an upgrade of a current position that you have?
It is,
Right.
correct.
That's-
Any other discussion or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you for your support.
So the next up then is our Department of Finance. So Steve, you're still up, you're close.
Okay, well, I submitted to you a brief. It was a little longer than a brief this time, but it has legislative impacts in there that you may or may not be interested in. But it's all in writing. I don't know if you want me to go through it quickly or if anybody has any questions. There was a piece on CPAC for our Drug Effective Advisory Council. So please know, as we're looking towards the 2020 budget, and we're looking at what are we doing in our community to keep kids out of foster care, that really is a central issue, and that is what is driving up our county local share. We actually are still crunching some numbers. Veronica has been diligent at providing me exactly where our money goes for foster care. Again, it's very convoluted, but overall, we spent about $10 million in 2018, and out of that figure, local share was 2.5 million, almost 2.5 million. So if we see more increases this year, remember, most of those funding streams are capped. So the higher we go in those foster care costs, the higher local share is gonna go now that we're reaching gaps. And then in 2021, we're gonna see that whole shift in the federal court funding. And that's gonna be a huge deal that we need to ready for. So, again, I called these seismic changes in last meeting, and they truly are. So we've got a lot of work to get done in the next couple of years to position ourselves so that we don't see increased liability of county local share in foster care placements.
Just one question, one question, the increase that we've seen, 15 or, do we expect, what do you see in the summertime versus other times of the year? Is it relatively steady, or is there a season that increases?
Well, towards the end of the school year, we see a big bump up because schools at the end of the school year are going, oh, wow, this kid really wasn't in school. So we do sometimes see a bit of a bump up at the end of the year in our older youth, any school age, really, in terms of either education neglect or a possibility of a PINS for truancy from school. And keep in mind, any placements with PINS petitions, as of now, won't get paid for. No, January 1. January 1.
What do you mean,
January 1 of 2020, there will no longer be any state support of PINS placements. So
how much added
yeah, I'm still crunching some of those numbers, but it's significant.
It's all based on how many kids we have. We've pulled all the reports and we're putting together a report to make sure that we know where it stands, because we'll have to plan for that budget-wise.
I'm still, in order to get at some of this stuff, I said to the committee before that our data collection systems are a bit archaic, and so we really have to sometimes go through case by case to pull out numbers and pull out costs, which is what we've done on the PINS petition, just haven't put all those numbers together yet.
And when did we first know about that?
After the state budget passed.
So that was one of the things
That was
buried
passed.
somewhere.
Yeah, well, we knew about it right along, but,
Well, I'm glad you brought it up and now. Well, that would be,
yeah. Your foster care monthly summary report, I've been giving you that so that you can see just how quickly things are going up. So for the month of May, we went from 172 kids at the end of April to 187 kids at the first of May. I mean, that's just crazy. That's over a caseload, as I wrote in my report to you. That's more than one caseload of foster care cases in 1 month.
because I'm wondering, I would think it might fall off a little bit in the summer because there's less visibility without kids being in school.
school.
I don't think the schools are mandatory reporters to just see increased cases of just invisible. All right, anything else? Any other discussion? Anything for Stacy on the report? Anything else for us?
I don't think so.
You brought it through.
I did. We're
All right.
always interested in what happens at committees.
Very good. Thank you very
Veronica
much.
had just a little bit of a vested interest in this one.
Again, you did, all the homework was done up front and it looks very, very good.
Thank you.
It's us, our services.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I did pass out the Sage for Vet pamphlet. We're shy of a couple days of Pride Month, but so Sage for Vets is the Services and Advocacy for Gay Elders group. They specifically contacted us because they have a vets specific program. They've never been active in our county, so we talked a little bit about demographic, since we don't exactly have the demographic, but we do have some. And so it's good to have the resources and have the information. They did send a plethora of information and of keychains. So I just passed out some pamphlets so you can see what kind of resource that Stage for Vets offers. Once we get the new website kicked off, I will be listing them as a resource on our new county website. So that's a little bit on Stage for Vets. If anybody else in the room wants information, there's some extra pamphlets. We did select our Veteran of the Year. I'm not going to disclose it at this point. There will be a dinner at Bona's that will come out for the legislators. That will be an RSVP type situation for the nominees and their families to recognize everybody that was involved in the process. So we had 8 nominees. We had some really solid packages. It was a good experience being the first time around ever doing this before. So it was pretty interesting, and I look forward. So the dinner will be in September. But the information for that will be coming out in the next couple weeks. And that's pretty much all that I have going on for the Veterans Agency right now.
Very good. Anything for Jamie? So,
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
We went on the fishing trip. The fishing trip was wonderful, but I do want to put out that you can't give these things away. They had up to 6 charter captains that were willing to go out, and 10 veterans signed up. So out of the possibility for 60 veterans to go on a free 6-hour charter, 10 people went. So we've got to find a way to really advocate. I mean, it was an awesome experience. Everyone on my boat caught fish. I took pictures, and everyone was really happy, and they had their fish cut and cleaned, and they all went home with fresh caught salmon. But I mean, they had a possibility to take 6 boats out, and 2 boats went. So there has to be some way. And I know Veronica, your husband, he and I worked
made so many phone calls, and he
and
just couldn't
we
find
tried, but we just can't get people to bite.
when is the next one?
It'll be the first Wednesday after Father's Day, and we're already trying to pre-plan now so we can advocate for it. 8 months out, so we can get people involved with
You
it.
just have to be a veteran. That's it.
And that's it.
That's it.
So it was fun for the people who went. They had a great time, but there could have been so many more people who went.
What if a veteran wanted to bring their spouse or a child?
So it is for veteran. It is a veteran only fishing trip. Like if they needed assistance though, so if they had mobility issues or a handicap or a PTSD anxiety type issue where they needed to bring a significant other or somebody to help them, I know there was an exception, for that. But it's a veteran specific fishing trip.
Okay.
But oftentimes veterans are friends with veterans, so it's a
Yeah.
great time for a couple of guys to get together and go on a fishing trip.
And they said, well, how did you advertise it? I said, well, we put it on Facebook. We put it, it was, I believe that we did an article or a news release on it, but it's not getting the attention. So maybe a couple months out next year, we'll just start asking people to post a flyer, hand out a flyer, or start talking about it. I'm not sure, but we can.
I know they
look
heavily
into that.
advertise it.
I
as
know it's
well.
on the calendar. It was on the calendar for a while.
What about rewarding vets with this fishing trip?
Like our 8 nominees.
They're the nominees, or a wife or a son or daughter could nominate a vet.
Well, it's open for free though, for anybody if they just were.
Yeah, but it's kind of, I think of the honor flight, and I'm sorry I'm jumping in here.
It's okay.
But,
No,
I'm
please do.
very close to veterans and my family. It's, someone I know who's a World War II vet went just on the honor flight out of Syracuse as Syrian. He was so, I don't deserve this, and I just think that sometimes they're about service to others.
Yeah.
So if there was a way to help them feel like they're being rewarded versus they're putting their hand out to do something free. I don't know, just a thought.
So maybe our audience isn't just veterans, but their family members.
If you have
Yeah.
something prior to it,
Yeah, I think that's a
we
good way to
could
capture it.
share it maybe with our home delivered meals
Yeah.
recipients.
Yeah.
And we also, part of our demographics that we do collect, we do ask if they're a veteran.
Yep.
We can try to target them as well.
So I think it's something Dave and I can
Right.
look at, cause the tourism,
And 6 were just the captains that stepped up to the plate, and then they only ended up using, 2?
2, yeah.
And the thing is if it ever got to the point where all 6 boats were filled, they could probably find
Get
more
more,
captains.
Don't PFWs and other organizations have like newsletters that they
So,
send to their.
I will tell you that our county newsletter editor passed away at 1:30 this morning, and he was the only one who single-handedly put out any sort of events whatsoever to the county regarding VFW and the Legion, and he did it all on its own. So I don't really know how that's gonna work moving forward. But yeah, they're supposed to advertise, and it's supposed to get out there, and I think maybe the Legion and the veterans organizations aren't being as utilized as they used to be. And so the word's not getting out like that, but I think we've got plenty of time, and I'm open to any ideas from anyone in the room to just,
I do think though that a lot of the veterans don't even know
they
how
do.
to use it.
Right,
You're
and it's hard, so you've got a technological gap, and it,
Yeah.
it's really hard, and people who don't get the paper, people who don't wanna pay for the paper. So it's hard, there's some barriers there on communication, definitely.
Our
I think,
veterans
I
are
think
very
if you, it is also if there's something that we could distribute, because I think in my small department, so I think in your large department, of just people that come in, it'd be nice to hand it to them, because they may be doing something else, but like, hey, this is something that I could do, it's not gonna cost me anything.
Right.
Because
It was
kind of-
free of charge, even the fish cleaning.
Yep.
Yep,
Even if
all,
there's something like a poster or something we could display like in our offices, so somebody, they're waiting for something to see it today. I don't know, there's something simple,
thank you.
but yesterday, I don't know if you noticed that the city was a school board meeting, they honored graduated. I forget, but I think in the thirties, close to that matter. And not the thirties, but he was I think he was 8 years old. He went into the army his senior year. And so the interesting story he told was that when they were, as he said, fighting the war, he said in the Philippines, that there was 3 soldiers within like length of each other, and they're all from Oswego High School. And he laughed and he said, "Is there anybody else fighting this war than Buccaneers?" Because he said he was there. So he told the story, but it was so funny. So they gave him his diploma and everything like that, because he actually missed graduation because he deployed before graduation.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
Yeah, I
his-
didn't hear anything
He
about
had
that.
6 kids, and they're all there, and they kind of joked, and the oldest son said, "Okay, Dad, now that you graduated high school, we'll get a real job." He said, so it was kind of neat. It's on the front page. I think.
It is on
the whole page. It was a neat story.
It was a nice story.
Okay, now I'm done. Thank you.
Anybody?
Anything else for,
Okay, Office for the Aging.
Okay, well, we began distributing farmer market coupon booklets on Monday. We did receive 840 booklets. It's a booklet of 5 coupons that are valued at $4 each. There are income guidelines, but contrary to previous years, anyone in the household who is eligible for the coupon booklet can get a coupon booklet. It used to be 1 booklet per household. Now, as long as they're eligible, they can, numerous people can get them. So we expect Monday morning at the health department building there'd be no parking, so if you have any meetings up there, we start distributing at 9 o'clock, so they'll probably be there at 8 o'clock, if not sooner.
Wow.
To get the coupon booklets. $20 is a lot for seniors, and it has to be for just fresh fruits and vegetables that are grown locally, or at least in our region. So lemons and oranges or something that's grown down in Florida that's really not meeting the guidelines. Herb plants are also do not meet the guidelines. If they're cut fresh herbs, then they can be purchased. purchase, but no Amish baked goods. That'll be starting Monday morning. And then their distributor, we continue distributing them until they're gone. We're starting at our office Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll be going to the nutrition sites, 6 nutrition sites. If there are any booklets after that, then we'll start hitting some of the senior high-rise buildings as well.
So Sarah, on this, it says, they're used mostly blah, 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 from participating farmers markets and farmers. How many participate? Almost all? Is it, oh really?
The Oswego Farmers Market, the Fulton Farmers Market, and there is, I believe, Godfrey's
So when you
farm
say
stand.
the Oswego Farmers Market, everybody at the Oswego Farmers Market then will take them, or?
No, they will have a symbol at their vendor
Okay.
stall stating that they accept coupons.
Okay.
So they have to register, the market itself has to register with the state, and then each vendor has to also register stating that they will accept the
So it's not
coupons.
necessarily very many, I mean, is it like 50% of the vendors, or?
I would say a majority of the vendors.
Oh, the majority do, oh, okay,
Yeah.
very good, I understand. All right, thank you.
The other thing too, if you do have, constituents that are asking questions about it, you don't get change back, so that $4 coupon, you get your $4 worth. Ask them to throw another tomato in or something, so that you're not leaving any money, or they're not leaving any money on the table. It's a great program and very well received. Here in Oswego County, at least, 4 to 5 weeks, if that, and the coupon booklets are fully distributed. Other counties hand them back in because they are unable to distribute them all. But we always, yes, and each year they do say you want more, and if they do get them back in time. We have, not recently, but we have in the past received additional booklets, but again, not in the recent past. But if we can get them, we get them and get them out there for people. I was also contacted by the State Office for the Aging, asking if Oswego County would like to take the lead on a potential grant, a SHINE grant, which is a senior health improvement and nutrition education grant. What it entails, if you have a registered dietitian, we would have to have, when you oversee 3 counties, it would be Oswego County, Jefferson, and Lewis counties. Right now, we're the number 2 choice. The number 1 choice is Cuba County, and that's Cuba, Madison, and Chemung, I believe. It's based upon where they feel the biggest need is. Their target audience is seniors who are SNAP benefit recipients, but they do not close it to just that population. So if somebody who's not a SNAP recipient tries to go to a workshop, they will allow them at the workshop. What the nutritionist has or the dietitian has to do is have a series of 4 workshops at 10 different locations across the 3 counties to teach them how to make better, more nutritious meals with fresh fruits and vegetables, how to make their SNAP benefits, make wise shopping choices with their SNAP benefit. And then they have to provide or organize 2 food box distributions. So it's $108,000. A majority of that money would all go towards the position itself, but it is trying to get more nutrition and better choices for our seniors that are in the lower income bracket. So I'll keep you posted. Again, right now I was told that there's only 1 slot, possibly 2, so we may or may not get it. It doesn't start until October. So at that time, I just wanted to make you aware that in this draft, they didn't say we're tied into anything. I just said I would like to, if you want to put our name or our hat in the ring, then certainly move forward, and then come back to all of you to see if you want to move forward and accept that grant funding and try to get a registered dietitian on board. Any questions on that? Okay. also, we're looking into proceeding with the RFA process to apply for age-friendly community planning grant. It just came out recently. I'm still reviewing all the requirements on that, but age-friendly is not just elderly, it's throughout the age, all ages in the community. As soon as I have more information, it's due at the end of August, so I'll probably be looking to other community partners to see how we can work together on that. It's not a lot of money, but it's part of the governor's initiative to have we are an age-friendly state and to have Oswego County designated as an age-friendly county through this process as well. It's a good thing. The State Office for the Aging will be on site at our office August 14th to the 16th to do our annual program evaluation to make sure that we're meeting all the needs of the grant funding that we receive, doing everything properly, and our contracts are up to stop. That's all I have on my list right now.
Very good. Anything for Sarah? All right, the one we've been waiting for.
You know, I do want to just jump in, I'm sorry. I am working on the scope of scope of services for our nutrition services contract. It's our biggest contract that we have, almost $1.5 million. I hope to get it out by the end of the month to purchasing. It's because it is such a large contract. Our contract expires December 31st of this year. It's usually a 5-year contract. But one of the things that we did look at, I brought last month here to hopefully try to get some senior service space in the Butter Street building. But Legislator Emmons talked with Mayor Barlow, and we did go down and look at the McCroby building to see if that would possibly be feasible for a congregate dining center. So we'll probably be building that into our contract to add Oswego as a location for a senior dining center. And whether we start off at the McCroby building, and if we do get space in the county building, and we move it, but certainly I think something is needed here with that additional site, though. It will, just a heads up, it's going to add additional cost to our contract. So.
Roby building works. It's not that far. I don't have to carry much.
And it's free, and the city's willing to do the upgrades that are necessary.
Have you looked at
You meet
access
the
there in
large
the
building.
building? Is there stairs?
There are stairs to get down into the McCroby building, but there is access.
There is like
Separate
a sidewalk
access.
or a ramp?
Down the side.
We've been over there for accidents. I walked, not get it up.
Anything else for Sarah then? Brian, you're up.
So, as Legislator Trudell knows, that sometimes rules are broken when we come to debate, but for good reasons. So I sent him an email, I sent it to Roy, and then I sent it to both that we had a Girl Scout troop who, when I say this, I'm saying it correctly, they did a project and they put together a Gaga pit. You're a kid, you know what a Gaga pit is. Gaga pit is very popular among kids. It looks like this, like an octagon. The kids in the middle. It's got the walls about 3 feet high, so they go in the middle, and you have to use your hands, and you hit the ball around, and you have to hit the person below the knees to get them out in the game. And you can move all around. It's like last man standing going on it. The average game takes about 5 minutes, and then resets and starts all over again. All the camps are doing these. It's all over the place. So we had one offered to us by a Girl Scout troop. They built it. It's ready to go. They will deliver it, and B&G will put it together and set it up out the camp house to be permanently there. Should be willing to accept that. I Googled it. You can Google it. It's a real thing. I've heard about it before because my kid went to the foundations one year, and they had a Gaga pit, and they absolutely was like the hottest thing there.
Why do they call it a Gaga pit?
I don't know.
Because they go gaga.
Yeah, because kids were.
You might be right. I have no idea. I have no idea.
It sounds like
The motion for there, like it's all naked.
I don't think, not right now. We don't need a motion on it. I'll tell you. We can see how we gotta go forward with it, but we need a resolution.
So that I won't have EHE do anything with it yet, then, is that what we're saying?
Because we talked a little bit about, the legal piece, I'm not certain on it, so, yeah.
Alright, so the second one was, Camp Rainbow Cult is celebrating their 20th year, coming up, and I got an email from Elena Twist that this year they'd like to put up a memorial, a 12 by 24 small piece of granite plaque on the end of the walk, to honor Camp Rainbow Cult's 20th anniversary. And again, as I told Elena, I have no issue with this, but Camp Hollis is a county facility, so the South Day Monument at Camp Hollis, I felt that we should bring that to me. And I also got that email since the agenda was reduced. Well,
Pardon me?
no, I received that email after the agenda was reduced.
On both of these, let me go ask, Bill. If you do my bill, I'll do the motion, that way these get set.
Nothing else, we can have a special.
What?
We could have a special meeting.
Yeah, I mean, they both are, they're both kind of unique, but they're both,
I mean, I'm not gonna take it over the
I know, you'll probably play it.
And that'll be first down. Let's go.
How big is the ball?
Just a little, just about a ball about this big, you can really use any ball, but
There's a guy.
I mean, is it like confined dodgeball?
You
Like,
can
what's
use-
going
They
on?
refer to it with dodgeball by hands, but you're not throwing the ball, that's what I thought too, but it's below the knees. You can't, unless you're gonna lift the ball up, it doesn't go anywhere, it never leaves the ground.
I mean, it has cut
You can use any ball.
Any
Any ball?
Huh?
Any ball?
Bowling ball.
I do stand a chance. I've got some croquet balls.
I'll tell you what, if we get it built enough, I think it'd be a great picture of the legislature playing
Let's
Gaga.
do it. Can you have that set up by the dinner next week?
It's all depending on.
Brian, is it about this big? And, how many kids do you put in the Gaga pit? A lot.
Well,
I feel like you need to have a
Get
video
5 or 6 in a
demonstration.
time.
Yeah, if you wanna get it up on YouTube, they got them on, they do use a soft foam ball.
Oh, it's like a Nerf.
You gotta have skills of dodging, striking, and running and jumping. You have to below the knees. Players keep moving to avoid contact or being hit by the ball. It's fun and easy. Everyone gets a serious workout. It's super simple.
Like,
Basically, just understand, basically throw a bunch of players in the ball pit. Turn up the music, and everyone, him or herself for themselves.
It sounds like that could get brutal.
This is the official
Definitely.
Google definition.
What size is the ball?
Anything to get them off the electronics.
Look up Gaga Pet.
Yeah, well,
So
we're.
do we know what kind of ball
I'll
it is?
Google it.
It says a soft foam ball.
Oh, so like the ones they use for
I
dodgeball
didn't
now?
want to say that out loud.
For dodgeball.
Dodgeball, smack the.
Well, we already
The new-
determined,
but
we already
new
determined
dodgeball
what
is
your ball.
It's a
If we get this
kickball.
bill to the legislative picnic, you could play Gaga.
Well, here's what we can do with it then, is, between now and next Thursday, between our regular, legislative meeting, we can potentially do the, resolution, just bring it up as if you want. So, because it is basically a donation, then we do have to, make it as a motion for resolution, so we'll get those developed by next, Thursday.
So these wouldn't have to be then.
Say again?
These don't have to be then
Oh, yeah, I don't know, but I wouldn't see why they
for donation.
would.
No,
Especially in this case with the
They're not-
Gaga being
they're
a
budget
physical.
neutral. They don't-
Yeah.
All right. Yes. So, if anybody has that, like the Camp Hollis Facebook page, please go do so. The staff out there this year is fantastic. They put some videos together, and since the videos have gone out there, they have gone viral. And the shares are really telling. And since the last was done on Friday, I think we've gotten about 75 applications since that one video went out. Right now, we're almost at 400 campers. We're at day 2 of camp right now. Last year we did a total of 428 kids. So you're not including returnees and people who are just late signing up, or in other words, going to max out at some point in time. That the numbers have spiked, but staff has done a great job. If you go to their page, there's a ton of pictures on there. There's a ton of pictures of the property that me and G has done a fantastic job getting the property ready to roll. We had next week, as you mentioned, is legislative picnic. I think we have about, right now to this point, I think it's about 70 kids signed up for next week right now. It'll take up 80, so you're at that point, and then the weeks after that are all higher. There's a couple weeks where certain weeks are partially sold out, male or female, so they are growing as we go through. So the Facebook page should definitely go like that if you have not done so. Any questions on that before I move on? Okay. Our leadership class, like I said, just graduated, as I mentioned, but what I wanted to bring you, and I'll pass these around, as I mentioned to you before, we had an all-female class this year. It's the first time out of 20 plus years it was all females. I'm going to pass this around. You can take it if you want. You'll see they have their own social media page. They've been posting on it. And then Mexico Academy also posted on their students. They just graduated from the class. Their project this year was Together They Are One, Together We Are One, being the first female class. Part of that was these bracelets they put together. They asked me to bring them and share them if anybody wants them. It just says PS one on it, or Together as one. So passing those around. You can take those. I'm going to pass around our summer parks program schedule. We're going to take or post anywhere. That we have Fulton and Oswego. We have staff in the parks that will maintain, get sports going, get games going, arts and crafts going, maintain no chaos while it's happening there. So that's part of our summer program. Our traveling arts and park schedule, free for anybody that wants to attend. I still have some money left in that budget if you have an event that you would potentially like us to partner and get an entertainer at. That is something that we could do as well, so I'm passing that along. The Youth Summit happened last month at SUNY Oswego. Over 600 kids participated in that. Started some new programming at that as well. The FFA, the Farming Association, was there. That was that's trying to jumpstart to get that into all the schools. Without me going into that, you can read it if you'd like to. As I mentioned, the legislative picnic is next Thursday. You should have an invite. If you didn't, let me know. Good news, bad news for you. You're either doing really well or not so good. That when I checked in with Zach beforehand, I said, what kind of RSVPs do you have? And he said, I have 0, but the invitation says reply or only respond if you're not attending. So what's important is when you guys come back to me and yell at me, that means we're ordering food. So what I'm saying is we're planning numbers to support if they have an idea of how many staff we have. Our commissioner has been pairing and sat at tables. People are in the middle of the whole kids as they go through there, and she survived. So I think you guys probably could.
It was fun.
It's fun. Legislative Classic every year does the same thing. He sits in the.
You're right in there.
Yep. So you're more than welcome. What we're planning is after the meeting, legislative meeting. If it gets out early for some reason, you can go out there and get a tour of the camp. If not, dinner's around 5. They will eat at 5 whether we're there or not. This is have to follow USDA rules, but it's a barbecue. So if you're getting there after, we can still serve you. We just can't serve the kids after that's the time period. That's legislative picnic. Zerby construction will be starting this month. We finally got all the paperwork in from purchasing and from Casey that we have all the documentation we need now. So now it's just a matter of the engineers and the agency will be doing the work to line up to get that work started at Zerby to put in the new well and septic, which is very much needed out there. You're gonna forget, I'm gonna yell at me forget the name, but if anybody saw it in the news recently, the valedictorian and salutatorian that just graduated from, it was Elmira, but they were Hannibal High School alumni.
Yeah.
They were also valedictorian and salutatorian there. They were both leadership Southern graduates. 2013, my last year doing it. I remember Liam. I cannot remember. I think her last name was Cashion, but I can't remember her first name. They were both in the leadership program too. So we want to go back and say, hey, are some of our programs working in the long run in the investment? Those are 2 of our students right there that have gone on to do so. So that's just a little update as to what we're doing. How you guys are dealing with it, but still with state budget stuff, you get the email saying this is where you're at, this is where you're going, but haven't actually sent the documentation saying, here's your final numbers. So anybody who's applied for a mini grant, if they are upset about that right now, I'm certainly not issuing contracts until I have that final number. Because as I've told certain people, if for some reason the state falters for whatever reason, then it's back to the county, they have to pay for it. So a lot of events happen in the summertime, but I'm not going to issue any contracts until I see that. Even though I have the verbal, this is where it is, nothing's been put in writing saying this is your actual dollar amount. So I don't know if you guys do, I'm sure you guys must.
Albany is just beyond belief.
I mean, we just got that letter today.
It's beyond belief.
We got that letter today for our county plan, and I noticed last year's was in May. So, anyway, so that's where we're at. I mean, things that funds, so like the mini grants, that funds Harbor Festival is things ago. That funds, things like the Hannibal Kid Safety Day. Different things that are in there. We were on charge to do part of the walk that the health department wanted to do, but we didn't have the money then. So I literally couldn't issue a health department contract without funding. So that money could be backloaded for the second half of the year, which will be interesting. We have a lot of applications, but I'm not pulling the trigger on that one, so I have to go on.
Anything else? Anything for Brian? Anything about anything?
Yes. So I attended the first annual ATV special needs ride up in Altmar. I now know where Altmar is. That was an unbelievable event. We had a representative from the governor's office, Senator Markley was there, former Senator Markley was there, DA was there. They probably had 70 staff members, volunteer firemen, EMTs, paramedic, EPC, and they had tons of helmets and people that would never have an opportunity to be able to do this were now able to do that. And there's not going to be an age limit in the future, so that's something we need to tie in with you a little bit. They have food. I mean, it blew me away. I was just, you expect to go up there, no inappropriate language. They had classes ahead of time. They worked one-on-one with individuals. They had people out the trail across the road. The road was blocked. And just extremely, I think that they had to bring in extra people. I didn't think that many people even lived in Altmar, so.
They do, they just come from,
It was
there's free food.
quite a few people from Boylston were down, so just kind of watch for it next year at this time. They've already committed to it. And they had sent a thing out to legislators, and there were a couple of political candidates up there besides myself, as a legislator and as an advocate for disabled. So, but I do want to tell you that for what they're doing and where they want to go with it, they want to make this a regional event in Oswego County so that people will come to this as an attraction and give people that opportunity to ride these things. The other thing is they have a big fishing hole, and several of them took the trail down to it. It was a 3-mile ride. It was a difficult ride. I took it first because the water isn't all gone. So they kind of gave me a choice. Would you like to just take the ride, or do you want to go back with the badge of honor? And I explained to you the badge of honor, but we'll hit the water going about 40. They'll know what you did when you got back there. You got down there, and there were DC agents there. There was a paramedic down there. There was a rescue ATV. And they had somebody one-on-one to bait their hooks, show them how to fish. I think they were catching the same bullhead all day long, but it doesn't matter. It was an opportunity again where people were so excited because we don't get to do this type of stuff. So, congratulations to them, and watch for it.
Was that a side-by-side vehicle that you went
Yes.
in, and you rode in?
Yeah.
Because I heard some just maybe flesh out a little bit comments, but we're losing a little bit here in New York State because of weight restrictions on ATVs. And some of the side-by-side ones are not allowed off-road in New York State. So when people go to Pennsylvania where they are, or Ohio where they are, So it's something.
They actually have 3 quads.
Yeah.
I mean, they still call it side by side.
Yeah.
That way, family, if they had somebody that was, very concerned about it, they wanted to do it, but they're an anxious person, family could actually go there, the driver, the individual could sit up front, and then mom and dad or someone else could sit behind and do that. So, the thing that amazed me, for first time, gee, I don't know, let's try this, they blew it out of the water. So I can't imagine next year the level they're going to
I've heard nothing but good things about that, what brings into the county. So, thanks very much for that. Anything else? Any other comments, topics of the day? Wow. All right,
get.
so,
Is the sun still out?
I move to adjourn.
looking for the movement to adjourn, thank you. Dan. All right.